I, 55F, have been a single mother for most of my life. I worked tirelessly, sometimes multiple jobs, and sacrificed vacations, luxuries, and even my own comfort to give my daughter, now 26F, a stable upbringing. She had private schooling, a used car at 18, and even some financial support through college. All I ever asked in return was for her to grow into a responsible, independent adult. Recently, she discovered that I've been aggressively saving for retirement over the past decade. My goal? To retire early, travel, and finally enjoy the fruits of my labor. But instead of being happy for me, her reaction was, "You should use that money to help me buy a house." I gently but firmly explained that I've already done my part as a parent. I'm not wealthy, I've just been careful with my money, and after decades of putting her first, I believe I deserve to enjoy my later years in peace. Her response shocked me. "So now you're just going to be selfish?" After everything I went through growing up. I reminded her that I was the one who worked relentlessly to provide her with stability. Now, she's giving me the silent treatment and telling relatives that I'm hoarding money while she struggles with rent. Am I wrong for wanting to keep my retirement savings for myself? Or is it reasonable to expect her to stand on her own 2 feet? Story 2. My husband, 48M, and I, 50F, have a daughter, Danica, 21F, who has always been fiercely independent. She started working at 15, and now, while juggling university, she holds a part-time job at a major company. We couldn't be prouder of her work ethic. She manages her own finances, insists on contributing to household expenses, and occasionally treats herself to high-quality items, like a new MacBook when her old one died or a professional bag for work and school. Since she earns the money herself, we've never interfered with how she spends it. Recently, we went on a family trip with my brother, his wife, and their kids, Tammy, 20F, and Nick, 23M. Danica isn't particularly close to them, but they've always gotten along fine. The difference? Tammy and Nick have never worked a day in their lives and rely entirely on their parents. During the trip, Danica often covered small expenses for all three, like drinks or snacks. While shopping, she bought a few things for herself and some gifts for friends back home. At dinner, my sister-in-law pulled my husband and me aside and accused us of spoiling Danica by letting her make these purchases. We explained that Danica pays for everything herself, but my SIL wasn't having it. She then turned to Danica and snapped, "If that's the case, you shouldn't be flaunting your things in front of your cousins. Not everyone has a cushy little office job or parents who spoil them rotten." Danica, clearly taken aback, apologized politely, saying she never meant to show off. But my husband immediately defended her, saying she shouldn't have to apologize for her hard work. I added that Danica has been financially independent for years and that we've always encouraged responsibility, not entitlement. My SIL fired back, claiming we were teaching her terrible financial habits and that she'd become a brat. Danica excused herself and later texted that she'd gone back to the hotel. The rest of dinner was painfully tense. When we returned, we found her crying in her room. I called my brother, hoping he'd talk some sense into his wife, but he admitted Tammy had been complaining for days, crying that she wanted a new MacBook too but that they refused to buy her one. Now, extended family are split, some calling us ours for letting Danica rub her wealth in their faces, while others agree she shouldn't be shamed for her success. So, Ada for not stopping my daughter from spending her own money just because her cousins can't. Story 3. I'm 17M and live full-time with my mom. My dad was never really a parent, more like a see you once or twice a year if I'm lucky kind of guy. Even those rare visits only happened because my grandparents, his parents, made an effort to include me. After they passed away a few years ago, whatever flimsy connection we had pretty much disappeared. The last 2 times I saw him, he brought along his girlfriend, who I didn't even know existed at first, and her much younger kids. The first time, I spent a weekend with them. The second, just a day. That was about 8 or 9 months ago. After that, I told him I didn't want him popping in and out of my life anymore, and honestly, he seemed relieved to agree. But then his girlfriend started seeking me out. We live in a small town, so it wasn't hard for her to run into me. She'd go out of her way to approach me, asking if I wanted to spend time with her kids or be part of the family now. I told her no, politely at first, explaining that if my dad couldn't be bothered with me, I had no interest in a relationship with his new family. She didn't take the hint. She kept pushing, even cornering my mom a few times. After multiple attempts, my mom finally snapped and warned her to stay away from us, or we'd involve lawyers and the police. That didn't stop her. She started showing up at our house, announcing she was pregnant, inviting me to family lunches, even bringing her kids along to guilt-trip me into going to the park with them. Once, she introduced me to them as their brother and tried to make it sound like some fun bonding opportunity. My mom installed security cameras after that. Things came to a head on Saturday when I was home alone. She showed up with her kids, pressuring me to spend the day with them. I told her no, then more firmly demanded she leave. When she refused, I called the cops. When they arrived, she argued that she was my stepmom, no idea if they're even married, and had every right to be there. Her kids were getting upset, and the situation escalated until the police arrested her. Now my dad is blowing up my mom's phone, furious at me for humiliating his girlfriend. In the background of one call, I could hear her sobbing about how I traumatized her kids. He's insisting I'm a monster for calling the cops on a pregnant woman instead of just talking it out. But here's the thing, I did talk. Multiple times. She just wouldn't listen. A for finally putting my foot down, or was I justified in protecting my boundaries?